Hey everyone, let's go over an actual cause and effect paper because I think looking at a real paper and revising it together is really the best step to making changes on your own paper. So, thank you again to the students who made this possible. All of these things are being used with permission. Now, this is an APA cause and effect paper, and it is really strong. With a few revisions, it's really going to be ready to go. First of all, I want to point out the APA format. Look at the running head, the title page. This is exactly what you want to see in an APA paper. And on this first body page, there isn't a title because that's on the title page, just the running header and the page number throughout. Next, the hardest thing most students had was coming up with a cause and effect thesis. And this paper needs one too. So we're going to work on that together. With your own paper, I would say there should be a comment from me that usually has suggestions like, it looks like you're arguing this, or here's the kind of argument that perhaps you want to make and the kind of thesis that you want to look for. So find that comment and see if that helps. But I'm going to show you how to do it without that comment. So skip the introduction altogether and let's go to the body paragraphs. This first body paragraph is a hypothetical situation. I gave a note that says, consider cutting this because down here, there's really strong concrete examples. Moving to those concrete specific examples really gives your argument some weight and allows you to analyze a situation that's actually taken place. So, one thing, when we get here, we have some strong statistics. Really makes a strong point. But these statistics about the high risk of suicide among law enforcement officers, this is an effect of what's being studied here. And down here, the elevated stress in the office, that's another effect. In fact, we could say this is a chain effect that comes from this cause, which here, or the cause that's being explored here, possible cause, is the lack of a support system, an internal support system for the mental health of law enforcement officers, as well as the reticence of law enforcement officers to make use of a support system like that. Notice how this is all well cited and supported. This cause should be moved to the top of the paper because it sets up the rest of the argument as cause and effect, that a lack of a mental health support system has led to, I would make this a separate paragraph and make it the second body paragraph about post-traumatic stress in the workplace and just stress in the workplace that's not being addressed by mental health officers. And I would conclude with this chain effect of the increased suicide rate that we found among law enforcement officers. And if one of the great things about beginning with the cause is that in the effect paragraphs, you can keep pointing back to the cause and say, you know, this PTSD and elevated stress in the workplace could be addressed by in-house mental health workers. And as well as the suicide rate, again, could be addressed and perhaps even identified by a good mental health system working to protect our officers. And so that would emphasize that the cause, the absence of this, could be contributing to these effects. Finally, let's jump to, and so then we get to our thesis, right? What's the kind of thesis that we can make that would be cause and effect? The absence of good mental health support in law enforcement agencies, and perhaps the reticence of some law enforcement officers to make use of that support has possibly led to higher than normal PTSD and stress in the workplace, and also which leads to elevated suicide rates. See how that chain cause and effect thesis would come out? And once you have the information organized, it just kind of flows. Last thing that any research paper needs is its reference page. Beautiful APA citations here. Now let's just format them so that they're all correct. So the first thing, of course, that we need to do is the hanging indent. So let's do this together, just like we did earlier. Where do we find it? Up here at line spacing. Go to line spacing, go to special, go to hanging. Okay, there we go. Now the next thing is here we have this added material that is not needed. That was added by the automated system that created this. So we got rid of that, and then we need to bring this back together. And now everything looks, and here, this is all in capital letters, but this can be in capital letters because this is some kind of abbreviation for the title of this article. So that is what a reference page should look like. Hit save on all your good work, and you're ready to go.